Storms already battering California, blizzard conditions in the San Bernardino Mountains. A tornado ripping through Pico Rivera, California around 3 a.m., bringing down trees. First responders in San Juan Capistrano rescuing a driver from a vehicle that was washed right into a rushing creek. This storm on the move at this hour. Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from our station WABC right here in New York, timing it all out again tonight for us. Hey, Lee.
Hey, David, this storm could be a real wrecking ball as it moves across the country. Now, right now, it's rain and mountain snow confined to the west, but out ahead of the storm, way out ahead of it, a surge of wind and unseasonable warmth, and that's elevating the fire danger. So you have red flag alerts across a dozen states. Now, these places will get rain. By the time we get to tomorrow night, we're starting a multi-day severe weather outbreak. You see that the storm's going to have damaging wind, hail, and tornadoes all the way from Cedar Rapids to Jackson, but St. Louis in the crosshairs, a level 4 out of 5 for severe weather. That's the second highest risk, and that'll go through tomorrow night. Then that shifts to the Gulf Coast, New Orleans to Birmingham on Saturday, even some severe storms up to the Ohio Valley. A weaker version to the East Coast by the time we get into the weekend, but still some damaging winds from Jacksonville all the way to D.C. and Philly. David?
Lee Goldberg back with us tonight. Lee, we appreciate it. We turn out of that horrific case, a Connecticut mother accused of holding her stepson captive for more than 20 years. That stepson, who is now 32, weighing just 68 pounds, setting fire to the home. He was hoping firefighters would come save him. And when asked if he was hungry when he was saved, he said, all day, every day, my entire life. Here's Whit Johnson.
Tonight, the house fire that led to a shocking discovery in Waterbury, Connecticut. A 32-year-old man who police say had been held captive for more than 20 years. His stepmother, Kimberly Sullivan, arrested.
It's truly a horrifying, and it's beyond comprehension what occurred here.
Authorities responding to reports of an active fire at the home last month, saying they observed a man who was extremely emaciated. His hair was matted and unkempt. He was very dirty, and his teeth all appeared to be rotten. 5'9" and only 68 pounds. According to court documents, he told officers he intentionally started the fire in his room on the second floor using a lighter, hand sanitizer, and paper because he wanted his freedom.
This is the worst treatment of humanity that I've ever witnessed.
Police say when asked if he was hungry, he stated, all day, every day, my entire life. He recalled drinking water from the toilet because he claimed he was only getting about 2 cups of water per day. The man said he'd been pulled out of school at the age of 11 after the Department of Children and Families was called to their home. Court documents stating that he would steal others' food at school, later spending years mostly locked in his room.
That room did have exterior locks on it and a number of different styles of exterior locks.
The 56-year-old stepmother appearing in court today, facing multiple charges, including assault, kidnapping, and unlawful restraint. Her attorney saying she denies all allegations, appearing to place some blame on the accuser's biological father, who died last year.
He's the one that dictated how his son would be raised. She's not the villain she's being made out to be.
And David, Sullivan was released on $300,000 bond. The police chief saying they are working to support the 32-year-old man as he recovers from what doctors described as a life-threatening condition. David.
Just a horrific case. Whit Johnson tonight. Whit, thank you. We turn this evening to a new global alert. Tonight, the international police agency Interpol is now involved in the case of that 20-year-old college student from Pittsburgh who vanished while on spring break in the Dominican Republic. Ariel Reshev is there again tonight.
Tonight, the global alert. Interpol now involved in the case of missing 20-year-old University of Pittsburgh student Sadiksha Kananki. The global missing person alert, called a yellow notice, was issued at the request of the Loudoun County, Virginia sheriff, where Kananki's family lives. Officials in the Dominican Republic say Kananki was last seen on this surveillance video walking to the beach with 24-year-old Joshua Reeby around 4 a.m. According to authorities, Reeby captured on hotel cameras returning to his room that morning around 9 a.m. alone. Kananki's clothes and shoes found on the beach. Loudoun County authorities calling Reeby a person of interest. But Dominican authorities tell ABC News Reeby is cooperating and is a witness, not a suspect, telling them that the two were hit by a large wave. They also say he gave them 3 different versions of what happened that night because he was too drunk to clearly remember. Laurel Shriver has known Reeby since he was 8 years old.
Josh would never hurt a girl. I don't know what happened, but there's no way he would have intentionally been any part of any scheme to do something to her.
David, detectives from Loudoun County are here in the Dominican Republic searching for clues. And tonight, the prosecutor here says that they are exploring all possibilities, both accidental and intentional. David?
Ariel Resheff. Ariel, thank you again tonight. Overseas this evening, Vladimir Putin and what he's now signaling about the U.S.-backed ceasefire for Ukraine and Russia. Putin now saying he wants to talk to President Trump. Our chief international correspondent, James Longman, in Ukraine tonight.
Tonight, Vladimir Putin, in his first public response to the US-backed 30-day ceasefire plan with Ukraine, says he broadly supports the idea for a temporary ceasefire, but only with conditions, and that is not what the US demanded. Putin starting with a rare thank you to President Trump, but then saying there are issues that we must discuss with our American colleagues, saying he wants to call President Trump. Those issues include taking back territory seized by Ukraine in Russia's Kursk region, and Putin demanding that in any pause, Ukraine not rearm, train or mobilize troops. At the White House today, with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Trump said he'd love to meet or talk with Putin, calling the Russian leader's comments very promising. Trump says he told his special envoy Steve Witkoff to discuss Ukrainian territory during his talks with Putin in Moscow tonight.
We've been discussing with Ukraine land and pieces of land that would be kept and lost and all of the other elements of a final agreement.
David, both Trump and Putin said today they want to speak to each other about this deal. Vladimir Putin may have done just enough to keep the White House happy for now, but he has made no commitment to stop his invasion. David?
James Longman again tonight. James, thank you. Back in the U.S., meanwhile, the chilling 43-second video emerging tonight in the case of those two girls murdered while on a trail, being followed by the man who was later convicted. Here's Alex Perez.
Tonight, 8 years after the murders of 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German in Delphi, Indiana, we're now seeing the chilling video recorded by Libby of the final moments with their killer. Key evidence police say helped them capture and convict Richard Allen. Until now, the public had only seen this snippet and heard the murderer's voice. But this 43-second clip, played at trial and just released on a website that supports Allen, reveals the growing panic as Abby asks her best friend if the man following them is still there. You can hear nervous whispering as Libby steps off the trail.
See, this is the path that we go down.
Abby is seen rushing past Libby.
There's no path going there, so we have to go down here.
You hear heavy breathing and then footsteps before the voice of their killer. Abby and Libby were ordered down that hill, police say, at gunpoint and killed.
And David, defense attorneys for Richard Allen say they did not release that video. Allen has been sentenced to 130 years and is appealing that conviction. David?
All right, Alex Perez, thank you. When we come back tonight, the extraordinary sight in the skies over the U.S. tonight. Also, the 13-year-old girl who tried to sing the national anthem but forgot the words, returning 22 years later. You have to see this. And next tonight, the alarming scene, green flames shooting from manholes, students evacuated, a campus shut down. More on this in a moment. Tonight, the alarming manhole explosion shutting down Texas Tech University. Green flames bursting from manholes on campus. Reports of a gas odor. Parts of the school evacuated. More than 40,000 students were sent home early for spring break. There's no word on the cause tonight. When we come back, the spectacular sight over the U.S. tonight, what you'll see, and the 13-year-old, the national anthem, and what's now happened 22 years later. To the index, the spectacular sight in the skies tonight.